Welcome back for episode 10, the final episode of 2022. And today we're talking about opportunity cost. We're going to share our books, our whips, and the chicken of wisdom will share Pearl. All right. So, Jess, we had a little break, an unscheduled break.
We did, and it's just the busy end of the year, rushing around and then getting sick on top of that. And, it's just, who's got time? Don't have time for this, people. Time for this. The children having COVID and all sorts of,
Oh, God.
And isn't it awful? It's that time of the year when, there's something on every night.
Yes. Oh gosh. And it's going to be like this for the next couple of weeks.
And it's solid back to back. You're like, oh God, when do I get to breathe? But anyway, we're here when now. It's nearly Christmas time and it's all slowing down, hopefully. Well, yeah. How are we going with that?
That's what you're telling yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Well, school's finished for you at least. So that's it can breathe a little bit in that respect.
Breathe a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. But and
so it gives us opportunities to do other things.
Exactly, like knitting. Yeah. Are you knitting any gifts for anyone this year?
No, not knitting any gifts. No. I would like to, but the elbow's not quite right and I haven't had the time. And so no. I think it's a lovely thought, but it's not always. I'd have to plan it 6 months ahead and make sure.
Yeah, I feel like if people want to give gifts, we need to talk about it maybe July next year.
Absolutely.
And our criteria for what
who we're going to knit for. And what the other thing is I love the idea of the knitting and the giving, and that's fantastic. And it's a wonderful feeling, especially when people really appreciate it. But the other thing is I don't want to line myself up with like 10 projects that I have to get through, because then it becomes a bit of a drag. It's like I want to finish a project and go, oh, what am I going to do now?
Yes.
And pick something that I feel like doing rather than slogging my way through, although having said that, there's advantages and disadvantages to both, but
yeah, but also like if you finish a project and you think I really enjoyed working with that designer's design, I want to continue on with that path, or I really enjoyed working on that technique, I really love to challenge myself and go into a more advanced version of that technique, or you know what, I'm done with cables, I need something simple and relaxing and garter stitch for days. That's where I'm
absolutely at. And you've got to go, and I think when you go with the feeling that you're having about what you want to do and don't go against that, that's when that's when you feel better and your heart sings a bit more and you're kind of into it a bit more and stuff like that. So
exactly. And we need that, especially this time of year, to feel that you've got some control when you're on that roller coaster heading towards Christmas and family are expecting these things of you and work and what have you. You need a happy place. So
yes, you need the zone. You need the zone.
The zone.
That's right. What is our business topic for this time?
Well, I thought we'd talk about opportunity cost today.
Yep.
So it sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but opportunity cost is the concept that there's a finite number of resources: money, time, energy, labor, etc. And when you choose to do one thing, you're investing those resources in that one thing, and you're choosing not to do something else. Even if you're not doing it with your mind to it, you're not doing it consciously, you are making a choice to invest in one thing, not in another. So if you choose to invest in making stockings for every single person in your extended family for Christmas, that time, that energy, time, money, labor, etc., that's being invested in that project is now meaning you can't invest all those things in something else. And it's particularly interesting and important for us as Knitrepreneurs because we are often doing it as a side hustle. We're often doing it alongside other things in our life, and we might only have a finite amount of time to knit, or we might only have a finite budget to knit as well.
Yeah.
Or within our business, we might be given opportunities to teach workshops or design things or write for magazines or sell kits or attend different workshops, what have you. And at some point you have to realize that you can't do everything. So choosing to do X means you can't do Y. And I guess the other thing is too, that often people will suggest things to you. So I often get people saying, oh, you should really do shop on, or you should really think about having an online store where you sell yarn or what have you. And I have to kind of not let myself get swept up in the excitement and really go, hang on, what is it I'm doing?
Yeah. And it's hard, when you're creative and you want to try new things and you want the next challenge and you want to do all of this sort of stuff, you really do have to take a step back and go, okay, I cannot do all the things. I love all the things and I want to do all the things, but in the end, it means I have to pick the one thing that I'm going to do well, or else I'll do everything poorly. And that'll be very unsatisfying. And you end up running yourself into the ground. And for me, that's, I have to put limits on how much time I've got to invest in, say, Yarn Trail Victoria, because, I've got three retreats that are going to happen next year, markets, and I'm going to go and do farm visits and stuff like that. And I'm going to have to, and there's 500 other things I could develop. But I'm going to have to sit down, early in January and go, these are the 3 Yarn Trail things I'm going to do next year, because I have to work. I work full time. I have to. I don't have a choice. And I've only got a limited amount of time to do that. So yes, the opportunities can come. But the other thing that I've noticed over the past couple of years is, you do sort of think, oh, I want to do it now though. I want to do it now and I want to start this in the next couple of months and it'll be great. But hang on a minute. These years go by so fast. The years, they speed by. All of a sudden, it's 12 months, and if you think, okay, I'll just put that next year, it will be here all of a sudden. It will be. Yeah. And so it's also about, we can do all the things we want to do. We just can't necessarily do them all at once.
That's right. Sometimes you've got to plan it and put that really great idea onto this plan for next year or for the next 2-year cycle or what have you.
I've already started looking at retreats for 2024 and I haven't even sold any 2023 ones yet. But that's okay, because there's a wonderful big idea I've got, but I just can't fit it into next year. I originally wanted to, but it's too late now. I just can't. And you just think, okay, but maybe around February next year, I'll be ready to book it for the following February, and that'll feel good too. And those times will just come by so quickly. But I think it also comes down to the opportunity, because it comes down to prioritizing, and I think it comes back to what we've talked about before. What is the difference? What's your point of difference, and what are your values?
What's your why?
What's your why? What's your why? What's your point of difference, and what are the values that you really want to do? Use those as a lens for how you choose where you're actually going to put your time.
100%, Jess, because I mean, it could be the decision can be made for you sometimes, because you're just you filled yourself up with all these things, and now you actually have to start saying no to those other opportunities. Or you can be strategic about it. Each opportunity that comes towards you, you can say, hang on, that sounds great, I'll think about it. Take the 5 minutes to go back to your why, back to your point of difference, thinking about what it is that you're in this business for, then make the call. And early on, really, I mean, the entrepreneurial spirit is to kind of go, well, let's give it a go. Let's throw some darts at the wall and see what sticks. But as your business matures, you can't really afford that in some ways, because it's an opportunity cost. You go down a path and you start to invest time and energy resources in this thing, you're then maybe not allowing yourself to do the other thing. So there's this fine balance, I feel, as well, like where you want to kind of explore things, test ideas, prototype things, put something out there and see what sticks. but then you kind of have to think, well, is this now wandering away from my core purpose, my core business?
Yeah.
And am I now setting myself up to not be able to fulfill the thing that I wanted to actually achieve in the first place?
Yeah, or that is potentially going to work. And I suppose that's where you have to balance risk and security, don't you? And you know, sort of figure out, like, you need the innovation because you need to grow, but you also we have to be realistic about it, isn't it? Which I find difficult, and I know you do too, because just the nature of the beast, and you want to try, and you're happy to try, and we're brave enough to try, and all of these things, but then have to take the breath and go, yes, but hang on, this needs to be done to the best of my ability, not to just the beginning of my ability before I move on to something else. Because in the end, that'll cost reputation, it'll cost opportunity, like, you know.
Exactly. So it's an economic concept that I think is relevant to us as Knitrepreneurs. So I want to put the question to our viewers, listeners. Have there been times where you've had to turn down an opportunity because you've invested too heavily in something else? Or have you used this concept to make a decision about not to invest in something, even when it seems really attractive, because it's not in line with your why and you can't invest the resources in it?
And how did you feel about that?
Oh, yes. And how did you feel about it? Because it is
how did you feel about doing it?
Thing.
It could be really hard.
Thing. It's an emotional thing, because we invest ourselves in this business as well.
And it's also about learning to say no. So this is another side to learning to say no. Like, you should learn to say no. I'm a teacher, teaching is busy, and you've got to say no to taking on all those extra roles, because it affects the quality of the teaching in the classroom. So this is a similar thing. We've got to be able to say no. Oh, that'd be great. Yes, it'd be lovely, but it's going to affect, and it's hard to do, especially.
It's very hard. And we're such yes people, aren't we, Jess?
It's taken me 40 odd years to get better at saying no, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, well.
But hopefully this helps, this idea that it's even though it's intangible sometimes, there is, when you start to break down an opportunity into the resources concept, then it is easier to say, well, yes, I can invest in that, on no, I can't.
That starts to really starts to feel like the business side of things then too, doesn't it? Because it's not just about what you want to do, it's about what's actually smart to do for the entrepreneurial activity that you are engaging in.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, big things to think about.
And you know what, it helps to sound out with someone. Like, a lot of our off-camera discussions are discussing those opportunities and mapping them out and identifying the different resources of time, energy, blah blah blah, and testing them, saying, I've got this thing, this person's come to me with this thing, or I've got this idea, and just trying to map it out together. And that's so helpful. So having a critical friend,
absolutely,
or whatever, to throw things around with is really helpful.
And there are, everyone, a few times where Pru has actually said to me, so Jess, what do you actually want to do? Or hang on, let's get back to what you're at. I'm just like, no, it's brilliant, because you can get so excited about all the things and all the new things, and you just go, I just need that person to bring you back and go, hang on. So it's really worth investing in that conversation.
Definitely. Well,
the next part of our conversation, have we got books to talk about?
We've got books. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
This is Patty Leon's Bag of Tricks.
Cool.
It is it's a manual, but it's also just a fun kind of jolly, like, there's cute little pictures by Franklin Habit.
Oh yeah, gorgeous.
And there's just, you can read it from cover to cover. She said in an interview on Rowan Connect, you can read it cover to cover, and she recommends you start there, but then you can go and dip into it when you need to solve a problem, because it's basically saving hacks. They're little
70 sanity saving hacks. Okay, have you got one that you've learned from there? Like, have you got one that resonated with you?
Don't make me pick a favorite one.
Just one. Doesn't have to be a favorite. Just one as an example.
She has one around SSK that she does her own sort of version, And then she's got so many. Look, you just have to get this book. It's just a necessity.
Yeah.
I think I would also show you this cute picture.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, it's gorgeous.
isn't that great? So it's
Yeah.
all about taking one step at a time, seeing yourself as a hiker. A knitter can be a hiker, and this book is meant to help you start those steps, take those steps up the mountain, and feel confident that you've got some footholds and you've got some safety ropes there to guide you. But also,
cool.
if you do slip, you learn. That's the other thing. So Patty talks about how she's learned all of these things through the what ifs, through going, oh, but what if I break this rule? What if I try it differently? What's going on there when I made that error? What was really going on? How come it looks like that? So she's a lot about learning through doing. And I think that's a pretty cool philosophy as well.
Oh, I love this idea of breaking the rules and breaking what you think you should be doing and how it has to look. And that's not the proper way of doing stuff. Oh, gosh. Just, it's yarn and sticks, people. Just do whatever the hell you like. At whatever speed you like, you know, and have a go.
And then sometimes you might end up at the same place, but at least you understand why it is that way.
Yes.
There are,
I think and that gives you more power, because then next time you might know how to manipulate something a slightly different way, and it gives you a different effect, and that's how you start becoming, I suppose, your own artist. That's your own, you know, absolutely. So my sum up is going to be filled, hopefully, with plenty of reading, most of it fairly lighthearted. And I've got this book, I haven't read it yet, so I can't say, I don't know if it's any good or not, but I found this book, it's just a novel, in a secondhand market somewhere, and it's called Mad Men, Bad Girls, and the Gorilla Knitters Institute.
Oh, yes. That's
I know, right? So I can't really, sorry about that background, everyone, but yeah. It's by Maggie Groff. It's just a novel, and it's about a secretive American cult moves to the Gold Coast. And a freelance journalist sets out to expose the cult's lunatic beliefs and bizarre practices. But this particular journalist has her own secrets, because in the dead of night, she sneaks out with an underground group of yarn bombers to decorate the locality with artworks, and they've got a mission, but it's extremely risky, difficult, and silly. So I'm looking forward to this being, apparently it's frequently hilarious, always surprising, and delivered with a strong cast of charmingly eccentric characters. And so just a bit of light reading that involves yarn bombing and the Gorilla Knitters Institute, and it just made me think, oh, I could have a gorillas knitting group here. This is one of those things that, no, Jess, opportunity.
Well, I do see yarn bombing in my future. I'm negotiating with Prospect Council, and as part of the Fibre Feast, we're going to run something, but also maybe Port Adelaide Enfield. But it's early days, but there's something happening there as well. So
that is cool.
Yeah.
So I would love to for the Woolcraft stuff next May, maybe get a group of people who would like to just decorate one of, because we've got all these statues in the middle of Ballarat. Like the main street is got this massive bit in the middle where it's got statues and things like that.
So cool.
We could knit them some beanies and some scarves, or some, just fun stuff with scrappy yarn that's brightly coloured, and so hopefully maybe you'll be able to get a group and we can do some, I don't know if it'll be gorilla knitting, but it'll certainly be yarn bombing.
You can make it one of them a gorilla suit.
Absolutely. Look, who knows? So that's my light reading that's got to do with knitting. So I'll report back at the end of summer what that was like.
Oh, that sounds good. I think I'm going to add that to my list as well.
Yeah, cool. Oh, and everyone, it's not ready quite yet, but we do have a group on Goodreads. So we're going to collect together all of the books we've talked about, pop it up onto Goodreads, so that there's an ongoing list of the things that we've mentioned, so that you can access them easily and see what they are.
I'm just trying to learn how to use that. I put one thing on there, but we just need to work out how to make it visible.
That's all right. And I've got to go back through all the things we've talked about and put all the books on. So, we'll get there. It's okay. It's all right. Now, what are you working on, Pru?
Well, I'm working on some socks, because that's where my head's at. I need something easy, something chill, something portable. So I've made one. So it's using my Socks Plus pattern for 4-ply, and then I've just added a bit of texture to the shank and to the top of the foot. These are for my husband Nick, who's a size 14. So there's a lot of fabric involved in this, but it's good because I need it.
And what's the texture stitch? Is that easy? Is that
It's simple. It's an 8-stitch. How many row? 1, 2, 6, 6 row repeat.
Yes.
So I don't know if I can. Yeah, if I just hold it up.
Oh yeah, that's working. Yeah,
it creates like a little dimple sort of effect. There you go. Yeah, and I've started the second sock. And I don't have an issue with second sock syndrome. I know a lot of people complain about it, but for me, because I'm working on other whips at the same time and I've got lots of other things on the go, I actually really like the fact that I'm going to go back and do another sock, and it's going to be chill and it's going to be comfortable, and
you don't have to think about too much
about it. That's right. So yeah,
there's certainly levels of whips, aren't there? There's certainly chill knitting, more complicated, not TV knitting, you know, all of that stuff.
Right. So even though there's like a little bit of a texture in this, it's quite simple because it's quite meditative, because it's as I said, an 8-stitch 6 row repeat. It just kind of does itself, and you can feel it happening under your fingers. Like you sort of go, oh yeah, I'm ready to do the next bump or whatever, the next they're kind of like little, you get like a 4 stitches of purl in the field of stockinette. So you can kind of feel it coming up, and you're like, yeah, it's time to do the next level.
Ready. Yeah. And it's just easy. And and we can find some solace in this easy stuff, can't we?
Yeah.
So I've just started working on, even though I'm still got to be very wary of the elbow and not knitting too much, but I just decided to start something. It's dishcloth. It's just cotton dishcloth with some spotlight yarn. And I just wanted a nice stitch. So I've just found this diagonal sort of pattern stitch here. You know, it's just literally slip one, knit one, and do a yarn over, and then slip the slip stitch back over, and it just creates a little diagonal. And it's easy to do. Then it's all purl on the other side. And I'm able
with that yarn too.
Hey?
It works well with that yarn.
Yeah, it does. It's coming out quite nicely, and it's something, because it's a dishcloth, and so it's not fancy. There's not a lot of investment in it being perfect. So you know, I already stuffed up the pattern and went, I don't care. It doesn't matter. No one's ever going to notice. It's going to wipe down my benches, like literally. And then I'm practicing my continental and you know, just sort of working on that. Yeah, it's really good. It's going quite well. I'm loving a very quick yarn over to do. It's like to do a yarn over is so quick, and you know, it just works really, really well. But just in case anyone's interested, the pattern is from, let's see if I can get it, Bendigo Woolen Mills. This is just a free download from the Bendigo Woolen Mills website. It's a whole bunch of different dishcloths with a whole bunch of nice little patterns, you know, diagonal dots, ridges, pebbles, whatever. And it's just literally one page with all the different ones on the back, you know, 3 or 4 row repeats, and it's easy. And it's, you know, it's all you need. And I'm like, yep, I'll just get my skills up again. And have breaks from it, and it's not for anyone, so it doesn't, you know, it's just for me. So when I get to it, I get to it, and I'm not taking it on my holidays because I need to rest my arm, all of that stuff. But yeah, so that's just
it's good to hear that you're getting back into knitting though, because it's been a few months that your elbow's been giving you trouble and you've had physio for it.
It has been, and for most of that time I've not knitted much at all, but my elbow's not got better, and of course that means, you know, I've got to look at other things in my life, and it's overuse. And I probably should have mentioned it before, but it's the computer. It's a lot of computer work, a lot of mouse moving, or the trackpad, anything that is that small repetitive movement inflames it. So I've set up my computer at work. I'm right-handed, but I've got my mouse now in the left hand, you know, and I just have to take this summertime to give it some really good rest time and just start rethinking how I use stuff. It's much slower, but might just have to dictate emails and things rather than type.
And just hope that it's just give it a bit of a read over, just make sure that some synonyms
would
because it could be awkward with workmates if they're getting some kind of suggestive emails and
For sure. So yeah, so that's fine. So a lot of easy knitting, reading. And I know I've mentioned this book before, The Power of Knitting, but I did want to sort of I'm going to read some sections of that, and I just thought I might maybe report on bits of that over a few episodes, because I think that it's got some really cool stuff in it, and just bits and pieces here and there. So I'll start.
I had an interview with that author, and she's awesome. I've forgotten her name now. She's Italian. Nicola someone?
Loretta Napoleoni.
Oh, how did I get Nicola? Loretta Napoleon. Yeah, I had an interview with her. She's great.
Yeah, so just sort of delve into that. I think it'll be something that, into and out of, you don't have to read all at once. So yeah, report back on that too. Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, excellent. So, well, I think that's us, except just to say this is our last episode of the year.
Yes, it is.
Do we want to quickly do our wrap of 2022? Like what are our highlights of 2022 with this podcast or with our businesses?
My wrap would have to be that Yarn Trail Victoria now actually exists. It was new this year. So, that's been quite wonderful. And like we were talking about before, I've got big goals and want to do all the things, but things have had to slow down for various life reasons, and that's fine. And I'll get there. I've had the first Yarn Trail retreat, so that was really successful. And just buoys it along a bit. It's like, I've got these ideas. Is it going to work? People are going to want to, yep. And they do. So that's fine. I have got some dates in place for next year, and there's a couple of more things in order to confirm those, but that'll be happening soon. And I'll be able to release all that hopefully by the end of January, start of February, open that all up. And it's just exciting. And, and our wrap for the podcast is, we were saying before that we've done it. We've done it. We still haven't met each other in person. But we've been able to develop this thing, and the thing will be refined as we go. And we just did it. Like, we tend to get, I should have done this. I should have. No. We're to episode 10. It's been wonderful. Hey,
we're learning as we go, and we've kept some things. Like the book has always been a thing. And we experimented with techniques for a bit. We introduced the business concept, which is definitely going to stay. I think having that looking at that directly has been a good thing. And the Chicken of Wisdom has been a perennial favorite. So, but we'd like to know what you think has been our highlight this year as well. Like if you want to comment below and say what you like about the show, what you want to see in 2022, 2023 rather, some of the themes you'd like us to explore, or segments that you want us to add in, books you want us to read and share.
And it's like anything, it's a developing thing, it's a dynamic thing, and the way the podcast looks in 6 months might be quite different, and that's exciting too. And just to acknowledge, Pru, the friendship we have built over this, and it's been wonderful. And that's for me, that's the best thing, that's the best part of all of it. Totally. Like everyone, Pru and I get online most weeks, and it's a good 2 to 2.5 hour session, and that goes too fast. There's still more to say.
That's right. We'll have to leave that for next week.
I have to leave it. We've got to stop. I've got to go to bed.
Exactly. Yeah, and
that's absolutely been a highlight. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Jess. The same. I mean, it's been so wonderful to have someone that understands so much of what I'm experiencing as an entrepreneur, as a teacher, as a person,
creator, as
a creative. Yeah, exactly. So when we just it's literally like this the whole time, guys.
So we're bringing you along for the ride, and we will keep doing that next year. So thank you everyone who has taken the time to listen to us and make some comments, and all of those types of things. We really appreciate it. Do keep coming, do keep popping in for a cuppa, and you're letting us know what you think. So
cool. We've enjoyed it. I'll just say quickly, dear Pru, wrap 20 workshops, something like that. I've published my patterns in print and online. I only had 2 up until May, actually like June, something like that. And so I've had this huge explosion of patterns. As 10, I think 12 now, something like that. So so I've learned a lot too about publishing, about looking after my intellectual property and my relationships with other people within our ecosystem, and really making sure that those relationships are clear and there's T's and C's, and refining my why, and making choices based on opportunity cost, all that stuff.
Yeah.
These things that I use every day, these concepts we're sharing with you, are things that I've been putting into practice. So yeah, so that's been Dear Pru, and I'm looking forward to 2023, going to Vogue Knitting Live and learning new skills in New York in February, and being able to share them back with you all. I've got a really, really exciting project that I'm working on that I can't share yet, that's going to drop soon, and new patterns, some more testing opportunities, things like that. So yeah, very exciting.
Oh, it's just, it is cool, isn't it? It's very, very cool. It is very exciting. So yeah, so do come along, everyone. Do come along for the journey.
Yeah, and we get to meet finally next year too, in May.
We will meet finally, yes.
Hey. So that'll be exciting. So more of that sort of anticipation will be built into our shows as well.
Absolutely. We'll have to do some special episodes when we're actually hanging out in the same state. Yes. You can create a bit of content then, I reckon.
All right, so chicken time. Chicken of Wisdom's back.
The chicken's here, and the chicken has an important message. It's not a Christmas related message. It's a business related message or whatever it is. But Pru and I were talking before about the way we work, and just about how I really struggle with routine. Like I really do. I have all my life, and I'm just the sort of person who works well in bursts. In creative bursts, and Pru understands that we get all that. And it just made me think of this quote, which isn't mine. It's not something that the chicken has come up with. It's a Paulo Coelho quote. Well, that's what the internet tells me it is. And if you think, and it's this, if you think adventure is dangerous, then try routine. It's lethal. And it just really resonates with me because I love within reason of routine. Of course, we all have to have our routines. So life works in life, the week happens and the timetables get color coded and all of these things. But generally speaking, it's like, no, if I put too much of a routine, then I don't go with the feeling. And sometimes, like we were saying just before, it's really important to acknowledge, I don't feel like doing that now. Now, sometimes that can't work because our lives have to function. But other times, I think we really need to pay attention to that and go, no, I feel like doing this. Because if that's what I feel like doing, that's where my skill and creation is going to actually be. So if you think adventure is dangerous, try routine. It is lethal. So
beautiful. What a great way to end our 2022 podcast series on that note.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone. Have a happy and safe Christmas, and we'll catch you in the new year. I don't know when we're picking up again, Jess, but early in the new year.
We'll sort it out. Yeah, you'll be hearing from us by the end of January, I reckon.